All right. Nice to be here with you. Going to talk a little bit about some of these moments. Got some music in the background. Some of the music that I'm playing in the well, not some, all of the music that's playing in the background is music that I've recorded. The stuff here that we're listening to is from 2006 or 7, 2007. This is the Chicago Session CD with Jeremy Vasquez and Nick Moss in the Flip Tops. Good stuff. I guess I should probably just pause that. I might play some of that later, but I want to talk about some of these moments. I sat around today and I was thinking, this would actually make for a cool YouTube video, just a very relaxed YouTube video. Let me turn this off. Let's see if this works. Hopefully I'm still here. I just changed my internet setting. Hopefully it's still working. Maybe you can let me know. I got to find myself on my channel. But so this idea of talking about these moments kind of just came to me. I was like, oh, there's this time that this happened, and there was this one time that I got to do this, and some of them are not necessarily fun moments, and some are. So I'm gonna just dive right in and talk about it. I want to quickly mention I have a class on Sunday. It's kind of a looser, chill, interactive jam session where we're going to use backing tracks in real time, and I'm going to play and you're going to play. I won't hear you, but you'll hear me, and there'll be space to respond. And I'll be breaking down some ideas and listening to some cool harp songs. So, at any rate, here's number one. So, these are things that were memorable moments for sure. My first song and the self-discovery of you know what it was like to make music, for the first time. I never really had a musical moment other than the guitar until I found the harmonica. And on the guitar I was limited, but I could play a little bit, and that was exciting to be able to. I remember how excited music was for me in middle school when I was trying to learn guitar, but I didn't take it very far. Later, I ended up self-teaching myself blues on the guitar. Even I think before picking up the harmonica, or as I was learning harmonica. So number one was that first song, and like getting that rush of being able to do something musical on this instrument, and feeling empowered by Oh Susanna, which is that was the song. And but that was huge. So that was like moment number one where the light bulb went off. Like, I want to kind of see what else I can do with this. And I'm guessing for a lot of people that's how it was, where they never really had a real musical moment until picking up the harmonica, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, like I can do this. I can make music. It's kind of cool. Hey, what's up, everybody that's tuning in? Good to see you. So let's keep going. I'm going to leave a bunch of stuff out, and I'm sure later I'll post in the comments, oh, there was this one time. But these are some big ones. All right, here we go. Lesson number one with J.P. Allen. First time I ever took a harmonica lesson was in Austin, Texas. A lot of you know J.P. Allen from harmonica.com. He's currently not actively working with harmonica.com, but he is making music and still playing. And JP and I became great friends, and that first lesson just stands out as being like a total, just mind-blowing experience for me. His demonstrations with breathing and rhythm playing and all this cool stuff that he was doing, he really hipped me. He was the person that really hipped me to proper breath control, you know, and really got me thinking about breathing right from the very beginning. So, JP, thank you for that, my brother. And all the subsequent lessons were amazing with JP. He was responsible for helping me figure out how to bend to a degree, how to play a rhythm harmonica, and just do all sorts of cool things. So it was just getting some structure with him, how to hold the harmonica. I Got a beginner course coming, by the way. It's going to be announced in my email this Sunday. If you're not signed up, just go to harmonica123.com and sign up for the newsletter to learn more about that. It's a 4-class series. All right. Here's a big one. The second instructional experience I ever had, educational experience that was centered around harmonica, was with Michael Rubin's informal harmonica class at the University of Texas. Now he would conduct these when school was not in session. They'd allow artists to come in and teach music classes. It could be other art related classes. Hey, what's up, everybody tuning in? Good to see you. And I remember, this is huge, y'all. So, and I think a lot of you will be able to relate to this. Maybe you'll really relate to this and be like, yeah, I'm glad I'm not alone, which is out of a very sizable class, somewhere between 15 and 17 people, maybe, at least. I think it was a full class, maybe more. One of the first things that on day one that Michael wanted us to do was to just play anything you want. Just play a riff or a song or something so we can hear what you're up to. And this is, as far as I remember, this was a intro to harmonica, and I didn't have anything to share as far as I was concerned. I was so nervous to make a sound on it. I was the only person in that class that did not play. Couldn't do it. I was just so nervous. And I was like, I didn't prepare anything. What does he want me to play? I barely know how to make some kind of bluesy sounds, you know? That was like super, super discouraging at first. And I just felt, I remember feeling, wow, I'm the only one that didn't do this. I'll never forget that. I was the only one. And I'm thankful that I don't feel that way now. I'm very thankful that I conquered that fear. It just took practicing. It took doing it often and getting in front of people and playing as often as I could. The next one. The first time I went to a blues jam. How many people have been to a blues jam? Beginners, I'm talking to you. Have you been to a blues jam yet? How many people are thinking about doing it, but there's not a good one around them, or they just feel like they need to be prepared or ready enough? I'll give you some quick tips. First of all, you're never going to feel like you're ready to go sit in and make music for the first time with other people. You're never going to feel like, oh yeah, I'm ready now. So it's like you just got to jump in and do it. But there's some basic rules that you would want to follow that will make your experience better, which is there's procedures. You sign up on a list. You don't get to pick who you play with necessarily. You get up and play and you listen and you have an idea of what you might want to play. If somebody asks you, what would you like to do? Even if you're not going to lead the song, you can have an idea of the key and the groove. Come prepared with something that you could play along to, that you could say, could we do this? Doesn't matter what it is. And listen more than you play your first few times. People will really appreciate that. I'm sure there's other tips too. All right, let's keep going. That first blues jam was a huge experience for me. The very, very first one was in Texas, and I don't know where. So for me, music started in Austin. And this would have been around 93 and 94, in that zone where I started first messing around with it. And then by the time 1998 rolled around, I was in Colorado. I had moved. But I did some things in Texas. So let me tell you that. My first studio recording, two recording projects that stand out, with the very first ones. The first one I did was, I was super green. We're talking, I only had been playing for less than a year. And this guy's name is Chris Gonzalez, out of Austin, Texas, singer-songwriter. And he was just a good friend of mine, and he was recording in the studio about the time that we started jamming together, and said, do you want to come in and do a few songs? One of them was Aunt Mary's Fish Fry. How could I forget that? And I know it's still out there. It's on a collection of songs. I I wish I knew the name. I could probably look it up. Chris Gonzalez, Aunt Mary's fish fry. Maybe somebody can find it. And that was just huge because I'm getting these types of. I got to do things early on that molded me, I feel like, into this player that I am today. I got to play with always, it seemed like, players that were better than me. The other studio experience was Hugh Fidel, Fadal, Fidel, singer songwriter, hill country kind of vibe music. We also recorded and we went and did some shows. We gigged. This was very early on, and those experiences just taught me to just jump in and start doing it. So I also, it's not on the list, but it's huge. I moved in around that time with a guy who happened to play really killer shuffles on the guitar. He wanted to sit around like every night and play shuffles, just rhythm. How lucky was I? And I got to just play with this guy all the time. His name was Sergio Ayala, and he became also a good friend, and I got to just play constantly. So those were huge formulative experiences that helped me a lot. All right. Here's another one. Right on. All right, so Dunlop, you never been to a blues jam? Well, I mean, it's never too late. Uh, I say just go do it. I'm just checking some of these comments before I keep going. I got a really good one coming up on the list next. Good to see everybody. Happy Friday. Is it really Friday? Is it really? It's Friday today. Holy cow. It's the 2nd of February. What's the first technique you practiced that intrigued you? Bending. I would follow Michael Rubin to and from his car when he would arrive to class and when he was leaving class. How annoying was I? I followed him to class and from class every day until I could get the 2 full step bend. Because I was bending a little, but I could not get that, what he described as, it sounds like a car horn, and it does. A harp. And I couldn't get it. And I just was trying so hard. Maybe the lesson was don't try too hard. Let it come to you. So here's the next one. This broadcast is brought to you by me and Spindrift. Even though they don't sponsor me, I'm a big fan of Spindrift sparkling water. Okay. In 1997, I believe, in Key West, I went to go visit my brother. He was living there. And he said, hey, there is one blues bar in town. I don't remember the name. He said, we're going to go when you get into town to go check out whoever's playing. So I had been playing, for a few years, not very long. I walked through the door. There's this guy decked out. Right when I walked in, I look over, and he's dressed with in a vest and colored vest and these incredible shoes, he was a blues man. It was clear, but I didn't know if he was part of the act that was going to be performing or if he was a door guy. I didn't know. He was right there at the door. So I walked in. I said, hey, how you doing? He said, I'm doing great. How are you? I said, good. Do you know who's playing tonight? He said, I am. I said, oh, yeah. Do you have a harmonica player? Now, I was asking because I was hoping that I could hear harmonica. And he goes, no, but do you play? And I said, well, it was like one of those moments where you're like, yeah. I said, yeah, I play a little bit. And he said, all right, well, tune your harps up and I'll call you up later. And I was like, what? It was Big Jack Johnson. A legend. He's no longer with us. Oh, the music was so good that night. I drank so much tequila. I drank because I was nervous. I was trying to, and it didn't help. Tequila winds you up. Typically, it doesn't calm you down, calm your nerves. I've never felt in my life that level of excitement and fear at the same time, leading up to being called, where he waited till towards the end of the night, by the way. Between sets, he was like, come outside and talk to me. He was so friendly. He was one of the most genuine people you could ever meet. Please look up his music. Big Jack Johnson. He's got a wonderful CD recorded with Kim Wilson called the Memphis Barbecue Sessions. One of my favorite CDs, if you don't have that. So I'm sitting in this little bar, and there's a packed house. I've not really had any experience playing with a band other than a few jam sessions, and that was my first real experience was with him. I hear him say, "Where my harp player at?" And I'm like, oh shit, it's happening," and I was so nervous. And what transpired, what I remember happening was playing simple ideas and holding some notes, and that was smart to do that, and getting responses from the audience, people clapping, which felt amazing. My heart was beating out of my chest, and then after I played, Big Jack said, "How about it for this young man? That's his first time playing with the band. Make some noise." And they made some noise. And when I went back that night, I didn't sleep. I stayed up all night thinking about how I could do this for the rest of my life. That was the most transformative moment I ever had musically. All right. Yeah. So, another one. I started hosting blues jams in New Orleans in 2000. I lived there for about a year, and I'd never had that experience, and I wasn't really singing too much, so I started trying to sing, and that was a huge moment where it was like, I have to lead a blues jam. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how do I lead a blues jam? I kind of know what to do, but you got to have some songs. You got to have a first set that you're really, So I started learning some tunes, and that was a really great learning experience leading a blues jam. And I also ended up many years later when I lived in Denver leading another one, a really popular blues jam. And that was cool because I could then run it the way that I wanted, where there was no favorites going on. It's just like sign up and we'll go in order and have some fun and none of this weird stuff. All right. Here's a big one. I got to open for BB King not once but twice with one of my best friends who's passed away, John Alex Mason. He's no longer here. He was an incredible musician. Look him up, John Alex Mason. That was great. That was in Colorado Springs at a beautiful auditorium, super high end. My family made it to one of the shows, and it was just a hell of an experience. There's a tiny snippet or two on YouTube of that. I also got to open for the Neville Brothers and a few other great bands, that I could mention. But those two really stood out to me because I admired their music so much. I still do. The Neville Brothers, that was out in Boulder at a funky venue. I can't remember. It was huge, but it looked like a giant like a mansion barn on the outside, and then inside it's like just raw seating that went across, and like a giant stage. It was kind of funky. So those moments stuck with me for a long time. Um, Here's a big one. All right, we're talking about memorable moments here, and I'm kind of doing this just to do something light and maybe share, and maybe you learn something about me along the way, but maybe you relate it back to your own experiences. And also, it's cool to have a vlog of my own experiences that I can go back and kind of watch this and go, yeah, but you forgot about this one. Oh, when I'm old, I come back here. Who is that said, who now that's how you made me feel when you called me up to play with you. You made me go out to my car and get my harp. Oh, okay. What's up, buddy? Eric. Yeah, I know exactly who that is. Where was the first time? Was it with Moses? Was it somewhere else? At your place? The party that we did? Anyway, here we go. I'm going to keep going. My first instructional DVD around 2008. I was living in a condo that had a two-story thing, and I went upstairs on the little open area up there, and I just set up on a rickety tripod an old DVD or camcorder, I should say, and I recorded Harmonica Basics, my very first instructional. And that, I was so nervous doing that. I took it so seriously. I took it so seriously. I must have re recorded each section like several dozen times. Like, if when you go back, I don't know if everybody has a copy of that. I still do. I'm like, the look on my face, you could just see it. It was like, dude, relax a little bit. Like, I was so, but the content was fairly decent. I was communicating good stuff, but the video and audio quality were just horrendous. Did anybody catch that? Is anybody here that might have seen that? So making that, the process of going through that and then putting it out there to the world on DVD at that time was huge because, that just for so many reasons, just it was, I had made a splash on YouTube, people following me and listening, and I was nervous to, quite frankly, I suppose, to put out the instructional, but it was such a great experience. Somewhere around 2012, I'm jumping way ahead, but I recorded my first self-release CD Till Then, and that was kind of a big memorable moment. Oh, let me back up. My first spa, in the early 2000s, it was in Dallas. That was a huge, you want to talk about impactful moments in my musical journey? That could be up there, top three. Going to spa, not just for the first time, but also going there each and every year and meeting new people and then getting new opportunities from, these contacts that I was making, and most importantly, making some of my closest friends that I have today, which is honestly, that's the best part. The best part about music is the people that you meet and the experiences that you have, the travels, the gigs, all of this kind of stuff. And just the love you get along the way when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Um, Here's a good one. Sometime around, I don't know, a decade ago or so, maybe not quite a decade. You guys, some of you will remember this. I lived on the road for 3.5 months in an old Winnebago, like a '90s Toyota Winnebago. The truck front. I was teaching and gigging the whole time, living out of that thing. That was a memorable moment. It was awesome, but I would never do that again. I would go back out on the road and do that, but not for 3.5 months. Another big one was Kim Wilson. I got to finally meet him in Santa Fe, and we got a chance to actually hang out and talk. This had been around 2000, doesn't matter, but around 2009 or so, maybe 8 or 9 or somewhere in there. And then I got to sit in with him and play with him at Spa not that long ago. And that was huge, to being able to have some stage time with one of my heroes. A little bit nerve wracking, to say the least, with all your peers in front of you listening, like some of the best players on the planet, just going, what's Ronnie going to do up there? And recently getting to go to Edinburgh and hang out with Tomlin and Lee Sankey and Liam Ward and teach at this event was incredible, and get to know Edinburgh, because that is quite a city. And that's my list. There's so many others, but that's the list for now. That's what I have. So thanks for hanging out with me. Story time with Ronnie. Okay, Charles says, did you keep a journal of which favorite riffs and songs as you were coming up, or filed them all in your head as you mastered them? I kept a journal often. I journaled some of those riffs. I journaled a lot. I journaled about harmonica keys and what they meant emotionally to me in the very beginning when I first started playing. I like color coded keys, and I thought of them as various colors, like a B flat was yellow, a G was green. I don't do this anymore. C was blue, and so on. I had all these specific colors in my mind, and then I would emotionally describe what each key kind of made me feel when I just pick it up and play it. I would journal the licks, of course, yeah, and players and just little things. And I tell people all the time, journal, write it down. You can pick up a harmonica 123 journal through my shop now on YouTube. It's just like a spiral, it's like a spiral like type of thing, like notebook with a hard cover this kind of size, but it's got some, you'll see it. If you go to my shop on my YouTube channel or look for it under my videos, you'll see products. But that's a way for you to support me and get this little journal that's kind of got it's got a 12 bar blues progressional that's imprinted on the back, and on the front it's got, I think, my logo and the blues scale and a picture of me. I don't know if I want to keep the picture. I might just put a generic harmonica. Let me know what you think. And journal, you don't need to buy that, but have a spiral that you use exclusively for capturing questions that you have that you need answers to, terminology that you learn, licks, players, songs, everything. Scale work, it could be anything. You just thoughts and feelings about an experience. You're going to want to go back and look at that. So yeah, I definitely had a journal. There's so many other things along the way. These are just ones that popped into my head when I first started thinking about it, but there's so many other things that I've been able to do. It's blown my mind, the things that I've gotten to do because of the harmonica. And a big part of it is because of YouTube and putting myself out there. And I have Kate Strajewski to thank for that. Thank you, Kate. That was at that time in 2006, that was my girlfriend's sister who said, there's this thing called YouTube if you're trying to share a video. And I'm like, oh. So let that be a lesson. Put yourself out there. Take a chance. Put a video up that you're scared to put out there, if of you playing harmonica or jamming at a jam, whatever it is, put that out there. See what happens because of it. You'll learn something in the process, if nothing else. Yeah, so maybe I'll see some of you Sunday. This class, just bring all your harmonicas if you're coming. I'll put a link in the video description so you don't have to look for it. But we're going to use jam tracks and do some back and forth call and response style things in class, and also listen to some kind of famous harmonica songs and maybe learn some ideas from those and hang. I'll take questions, but I'm going to try to break down a couple of the ideas that we're listening to and or exchanging as we play. I won't hear you in this. I've had a couple people ask me this, like, will you be listening to me? No, I'll just be creating the space live in the moment where you can respond, and then I'll play. And I'm thinking that people will either just try to find my idea or create a new kind of response lick, something like that. All right, let's hear what your experiences are. Use the comments and let me know what has happened to you. What are the most memorable things that you've either had happen or you've had a chance to do over the years, musically speaking, lessons you've learned. We all learn from this stuff, so I'd love to hear about it. I'll see you guys soon. Make it a good night. Go hug somebody you